Okay, so good evening again, friends. And it's a joy for us to be here, and so nice to see so many of you, so many new friends also in the temple. We look forward to maybe meeting in person sometime to our family in Pune. But it's always a joy for us to be with all of you. And so today, from the Bhagavad Gita, we'll share the reading first. So this is from chapter 4, the supreme science of knowing God. This is number 34. So the reading is, understand this above all. By surrender of self-will to the wise, by sensitive inward and outward questioning of the wise, and by service to the wise, those who have realized the truth will be able to convey their wisdom to you. So just from this stanza alone, I wanted to just pick up a few points because there's a lot in this. And, just as a little sort of preface, you may say, before a few points of Krishna here, this week we also do a book study from this book, The Essence of Self-Realization with Sayings of Master. And we started out this, the chapter on working out karma. And in that, there's this line here which says, the disciple flung his hands up in despair and said to the master, then it all seems quite hopeless. As well, one might try calming the waves on the ocean. So it was basically, and then master even replied, it's a big job, I grant you. Still, it isn't nearly as difficult as it looks. And just that line, the disciple flung his hands up in despair. And I've been kind of amused in the last, few days and just kind of keeping that a little bit with me this week. And just also watching, because more I was interested in watching myself, when do I do this? Even if it's not so dramatic as that, there are moments, if you notice in your day, if you're anything like me, which I imagine many of us have our moments, where we do this, where we suddenly reach this point of just, oh, master, well, what is it all, and just be very dramatic. And it's a good thing, I think, to sometimes, because like I really liked here in this reading, if you see here, Krishna saying by sensitive inward and outward questioning of the wise, you don't have to, we don't have to just, yes, master, because although we would love to just be the, yes, master, anything you say, your wish is my command, and I will sit and meditate for 2 hours. And, sometimes you're not able to do that. So even this week, one of the ways actually I caught myself, we just came back from a pilgrimage to Rishikesh. And I had a little cold and, so it's all stuffy. And so you can't really meditate if you all know how that is. And so sitting to meditate and that, it was not very deep. And so anyway, I'm getting through the day. I'm just kind of doing things in the house. And halfway through the day, I was just feeling sort of the heaviness started coming in, of just, my God, and this thought just, again, I started going into, oh no. And, you sort of start spiraling. We all know how it is. I don't have to speak the details. And just suddenly this thought came like, that's just because you haven't had a chance to meditate properly today. It's okay, this evening, try again and it will become fine. And I just took that as, again, a little bit of this grace, here. And I read something of Swamiji today where he's saying the secret of peace, of inner peace, is not getting caught up in your flaws and your shortcomings. Oh, my meditation wasn't that good. Oh, I wasn't so calm. Oh, I reacted. Not getting caught up in that. He says, it is in claiming your own inner light, claiming the highest in yourself in the light, claiming the highest in yourself in the light. Meaning to say, we need to receive that. We need to kind of receive and accept and claim that this is actually my reality, and just keep coming back to that instead of getting caught up in, oh no, this and that. And, the little shortcomings that keep us bound, the flinging of the hands up in the air, just, no, let me try again. Let me sit down for 5 minutes with master. Let me just go to my altar. Let me just do a chant. Let me come for a satsang. And all of a sudden, claim that higher self inside of ourselves. No? And so what Krishna is saying here, He gives us actually 3 ways to really do this, the supreme science of knowing God, of just claiming that light inside of us. And the first one, he's saying, of surrender to the will of the wise. And so I just wanted to talk about these 3, just to share with us just a few little thoughts. How quickly, this is another fun question to ask ourselves, how quickly do we fall on, am I surrendering to Guru's will, your will? Or do I just go and, no, 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 but wait, my plan was, but why is this not happening? Versus just relax into, okay, master, what's trying to happen here? Okay, master, what would you like in this situation? And if we can do that, and we need to practice, as Swamiji says, and then the smaller things, we start to realize how much relaxation comes, isn't it, in just the day-to-day activities. When we get all tense and caught up in, no, 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 but I had this plan and this isn't working, and why aren't you listening to me? Or whatever it is, all of a sudden it becomes so tense, and somehow over there the Guru is not able to reach us. He's not able to come in, and we need to receive that, isn't it? And so it just sort of had I went to renew my US, the visa, which we are applying again because it's going to finish. And I was there and something happened. One of my, the piece of paper just disappeared at the frisking booth. So I was inside the whole office without that paper, and they need that piece of paper at the counter. They're not going to give you your appointment and things like that. But I had my passport, luckily. So there's this whole little drama going on. And first I was all like, oh, my paper, how can this happen? It was just there. And I'm sort of in the middle, and they took your phone, and also you can't call anyone. You don't have a picture of it. So there's all of this moment going on. But, it took me a while. First I was all, no, no, what should I do? And all. And they're just like, ma'am, please sit here. We will figure it out. And then it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I was like, should I get up? Should I say something? Should I do something? And in that moment of all of this, just came one thing of, wait, master, what's happening? Is this your will that I put energy today to get this visa? Just what's happening here? And just sort of relax into, wait, master, what's going on? And all of a sudden, the moment I did that, after a lot of this back and forth, it was the funniest thing. The lady just came with, here's your passport, please go to the counter, your work is done, something like that. It was a very dramatic moment, but it took long enough to reach into that surrender to that Guru's will. No, even in this moment, it's like, are you just kind of forcing, or are you able to, even in this moment, just say, wait a minute, master, your will, not mine. If you want me to do this, if you want me to get the visa, okay, I'm here, I'm doing everything I can. And it was just a little moment of how quickly do we fall back on that, the surrender to the Guru's will. And the other 2 points is the service to the Guru. And that, again, we all who are here are very aware and very blessed, fortunate we have opportunities to serve. But if we need to allow that grace to enter, to put ourselves in that flow of energy, so important, isn't it? But I just read today something actually which Lata's done a course for us recently. So we've been working on that, on journaling. It's an online course. And she quotes this beautiful quote of Saint Francis of Assisi, who basically says, and I wrote it so I say it properly, he says, do a few things, but do them well. Simple joys are holy. To do a few things, do them well, and I was there editing this video and, just again, trying to put a nice effort and just realizing, this few things well, one project at a time. That was something Swamiji taught us. One project, full attention, do it with your 100%, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, but do it well with all of our energy, and then the Guru is able to flow through us. And the last one of just the questioning, I just love that again so much, this sensitive inward and outward questioning, to constantly be keeping this relationship with the Guru alive. It's not something we just want to, again, we are doing some sort of meditation and we get up and we go through our day and then we come back and we again just try to do our techniques. But again, Master says, introspect daily, understand what are the lessons Divine Mother tried to give us every day. And sometimes we may not understand. and to ask inwardly and also sometimes outwardly. And it says here, Krishna is also saying to the wise. And we are very fortunate in Ananda. We have many wise ones. No? Many times I see Guru Bhai suffering. And I always say, why don't you talk to one of our senior acharyas? Because again, it's like, why try to figure out on our own, isn't it? We are never going to just always know the answers. That's why we have the wise. We're so blessed. But also inwardly to ask Master and keep that very alive constantly, isn't it? Of just, why is this happening, Master? What do I have to learn here? And I'll end on this. But, there's just one situation which happened and it was pretty, challenging, let's say. And in some levels, I don't feel it's quite finished, you see, like the test of it. I don't know if I've quite learned what I need to learn from it. And this has been an ongoing thing. And it sort of, goes to the back of your mind when you get busy with seva or you get busy with other aspects of life. But sometimes that just pops up here and there. And, again, it brings you to meditating on it, asking inwardly. And just the other day, I was wondering, because it's been a few years, and I was wondering, maybe, this situation was planted there also to keep this questioning spirit alive, to keep this asking of the Guru alive in me. And maybe it's a blessing, because otherwise we get so relaxed. It's like everything is good, everything is Guru's grace, which it is. But sometimes he wants us to put energy in a specific way. He wants to remove something from us, from our consciousness, isn't it? And only by just keeping that alive, sometimes he can then remove it fully. He can bring his grace. And that's when we're able to also open ourselves enough to receive that grace. So those are a few thoughts from myself. And now I will invite Baraquiel.
Thank you, Shamini. Very great. And good evening once again to everyone from my side as well. And, I really like how Krishna here gives us one of the greatest secrets for our spiritual growth, for our spiritual unfoldment. That is the secret of receptivity, as Shamini was talking about, of openness, of opening ourselves to a greater flow of energy. Really, that's what he is saying right here. Now, of course, when he talks about the wise, the greatest of all is our guru or our gurus, to say. Master's Mahasamadhi is coming now in a few days, a celebration, and we all remember and we all quote it probably every Mahasamadhi: to those who think me near, I will be near. And it is really up to us to receive the presence of the gurus who, even though they are not in the body, they are very much present. But as Shamini was saying also, that's the highest. Now, if we step it down a little bit, we have a lot of wise ones around us. And even if you step it down a little bit further, there's always someone wiser than us around. A Guru Bhai who is a little wiser than us, perhaps not in every way, but in some way he will be wiser than us, or she will be wiser than us, because we all go through different experiences in life, and we all have learned different lessons. And if you go to a satsang thinking, oh, I'm the highest evolved here, that's a problem. It means that something is really not highly evolved in you. So that to say that, yes, we have the gurus, that's a constant thing, that we are always trying to attune ourselves to their will, to their teachings, to their vibration. But then, of course, we have our great acharyas, as we like to call them, those who have walked the path for decades, really. And we always insist, if they come, that sometimes some of them are coming a little less than they used to come because of age and whatever it may be. If they come, you have to come, because it's in that receiving of the vibrations that we really can change ourselves, regardless of what they say, of how they express in satsang or in classes. Just be there to receive, and yes, of course, to give, but to receive that magnetism. Okay, but when they are not there, that's not an excuse. There is still satsang with our Guru Bhais, and there is a tremendous amount of magnetism that can be exchanged if, again, we are open. And, because we have to do the online community, we have realized that, yes, even though perhaps the exchange of magnetism is less, that is still possible. if the gurus who are not in the body anymore can give us their magnetism, I think someone who is, a few thousand kilometers away can also share magnetism with us if we open ourselves, if we really try to do these things. And as I said, many a times perhaps one doesn't feel inspired or say, oh, why would I go to satsang? It's always the same thing or whatever. It's not true. If you're doing that way, it means you're going in there with the wrong intentions. Because we understand that satsang is not about what the speaker are saying, although we hope that they will say something inspiring as well, is that we are trying to attune to what the vibration is behind, because they're trying, of course, to hopefully channel something a little higher. And as I said also earlier, that even then, there's always going to be a Guru Bhai that has a quality that you don't have, a good quality that you don't have. Perhaps some are able to express more love than you, or are much more joyful than you are. Even though you are very calm and peaceful, there is these other qualities that they have that you may also want to have within yourself. And that in that exchange of magnetism, which, you can say they are wiser than you in expressing joy, or they're wiser than you in expressing love, although you may be wiser in expressing calmness. So they can benefit from that, but you benefit from the other. And that exchange of vibration is really essential for our spiritual unfoldment, because it's very easy to become one-sided. It's very easy to say, oh, the gurus are there, they will take care of me, and they will take care of you. But very often they will take care of you with the help of other people, because rare is he who can really open himself fully to receive the masters, to really receive what they have to give. As Shamini was saying, one of the greatest, I don't know what to call it, but one of the greatest activities of openness is pilgrimage. Because in pilgrimage, that's all what you want to do, is open yourself to receive the vibrations of holy places. And the problem is that in meditation, as well as when we go to pilgrimage, we have expectations, isn't it? We went to Rishikesh, and there's this cave called Vashishta Gufa, which, Saint Vashishta is said to have meditated. Some people say that there are still people, beings or and people or saints meditating behind the wall that they have created, that they're still meditating there in their astral forms and whatnot. And you're like, wow, yes, that I'm going to go there and have this super deep meditation. And, what am I going to receive? And we go putting out all these expectations. And then we go there, and yes, maybe we feel something, maybe we don't feel something. But probably we were not able to open ourselves completely if we have that state of mind. Something happened to me very interestingly. Some years ago, Guru Bhai and I went to a little bit of a pilgrimage / trip in Europe. And we went to different places of Saint Bernadette, of Padre Pio, Saint Francis, and so on. And we were in Paris, of all places. And we went to this particular, it's not a church, I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's, let's say, a church called Sacré-Cœur, the Holy Heart. And I don't know if it's anything special happened in that church. I don't think any saint necessarily was there. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. And, we sat there. It was fine. But then I remember we went to the basement. The basement was not very neatly kept. You could tell that they were struggling, to keep things uplifting. But there was this very nice statue of Joan of Arc, who is said to have been a saintly woman who, led the armies of France in the early, I guess, I can't remember, but in the 100-Year War between England and France, I can't remember the year exactly. And she was basically a 16-year-old who got the command by God to lead the armies of France. This is medieval times, which you can imagine how people felt about that. But she felt it very strongly. She had a visitation of the Virgin Mary, and she ended up actually leading the armies of France and helping France become liberated from the English. Not going to go into the whole story, but I always felt some sort of connection to that. And I remember I was in this basement and I was just, everything dirty. But the moment I saw this statue and I closed my eyes, I remember my heart just feeling so much with love, just because I was receptive. There was something in me that was much more open than when we were to some of the other holy places. And that told me, wow, that is the key. How much are we able to receive? How much are we able to uplift our energies in this receptivity? And yes, of course, giving is important in the sense that when we are giving with self-offering, because that's how we empty ourselves to even receive. But I mean that we should not be giving in the sense of expecting things to come to us. We should just empty ourselves so that we may receive energetically the presence of the masters and the presence of the wise. Now, how do we develop this receptivity? And that's a very important thing to understand as well. Well, the main one, again, meditation. That time in meditation, actually a time of prayer in meditation, is a very wonderful time to open ourselves. The time of chanting is also a wonderful time to open ourselves to be receptive. And also that time after our techniques, after we sit in the silence, it is our duty to really open ourselves and receive the presence of the gurus, the presence of the divine in the form of peace, joy, in whatever way they want to show up or they don't want to show up, doesn't matter. Our goal is to just sit still and open our hearts. And yes, okay, that's again, if we look at the higher one, but even as Shamini was saying, day to day, through all our activities, how do we make sure to remain open? Well, one of the best ways to do it is to be open when you are with other people. Be open to what they have to say. Be open to receive what they are trying to convey. Oftentimes, as we like to say, when you're in conversation with somebody, you can either feel that, I find it very funny how sometimes, I may be saying something for, let's say, 30 seconds, and then the reply that comes from the other person is something totally different, that is totally unrelated to what I was saying, and I guess we are not talking about this anymore. My thought is that probably the person was just waiting to say whatever they wanted to say and not really trying to have an exchange. But I know that I have done that sometimes too, that people mention one thing and in your heart, oh, I have to tell that. And then you start waiting and waiting and waiting. And then the moment they stop, you try to graciously, go back to that point so you can tell your story or whatever. Well, that's not being open. That's just, trying to put ourselves out there. But I think if we want to open ourselves, if we want to learn receptivity, let's listen more to other people, as Shamini was saying, to situations in our lives, and really try to tune in to a broader reality, because in this art of listening, we expand, we let go of our likes and dislikes, of our wants, and then something higher can flow through us. And I think that's really what Krishna is saying here. Open yourself, and then the wise can flow through you. First of all, open yourself to the wise, and then remain open throughout the day so that they can flow through you in every moment of your life. With that, why don't we close our eyes for a moment and just open our hearts, like we sang Door of My Heart. Let's keep ourselves open. Feel, visualize the masters in you, in your spine, in your body. Your body and their body have become one. And let us share that feeling, that vibration, energy with the entire world. Let's rub our hands together. Let's say 3 ohms. Oh.